The film begins with Lord Rajasina's soldiers holding Tayan, the youngest son of a noble family from the Ayutthaya kingdom, captive. Tayan appears to be sedated, and the only time he gains consciousness is after being hit with multiple buckets of water. The first thing he notices, despite his foggy vision, is a troop of soldiers holding heavy wooden staves. Soon, Tayan receives a verdict, and the soldiers are given orders to beat him up severely. As two strong men pull those same chains to hold him in position, they start beating him until Tayan is bloodied. Tayan somehow gathers all his energy and fights back despite the fact that his legs are chained up. He kills a lot of soldiers, but ultimately the soldiers get the upper hand and knock him out. Rajasena then commands his troops to break Tayan's elbows and knees. On the other hand, a disease outbreak is currently plaguing the town of Kanakan. A few patients are being treated by local physicians, but the matter is getting out of hand. In order to find a solution, a master by the name of Bua leads a Buddhist pilgrimage, during which he learns that Bodhisattva, the black mystic or the devil of darkness, is the cause of the curse. The evil force is then directed by Master Bua into a single leaf that lands in his hand. In an attempt to combat the evil forces, he decides to become a monk. Meanwhile, Rajasena is haunted by the visions of his late predecessor, whom he poisoned to death in order to seize the throne. Rajasena is tormented by these visions, and it becomes apparent that the late monarch cursed him before he died. Rajasena wakes later, at midnight, only to see a brawl going on in his courtyard. Some soldiers appear to have arrived to free Tayan from captivity. However, at that precise moment, Budi Sanka, the crow ghost, appears out of nowhere and kills all the soldiers one after the other. After seeing his impressive combat prowess, Rajasena makes the offer to hire him to secure his services. The crow ghost, though, is thinking about something else. He advises lifting Rajasena's curse, hinting that Tayan is somehow related to the curse. The evil lord immediately accepts it and commands his soldiers to kill Tayan. But just as the executioner is about to hit Tayan with his sword, a messenger from the Ayutthaya kingdom shows up with a pardon for Tayan, which has been approved by the highest authority in the land. Rajasena is thus forced to give up his prized prisoner. The messenger takes him away to Kanakone, a remote village, for treatment and rehabilitation. Moments later, a crow hits Rajasena in the face and he experiences a sudden hallucination. In a blurred vision, he witnesses that his warriors are approaching him and are about to kill him. Flustered, he abruptly snaps out of it and kills one of the soldiers. In the meantime, Tayan is rushed to the village where his beloved childhood friend, Pim, is assigned to take care of him. However, believing that a traitor informed Ayutthaya, the Lord's ministers send assassins to kill Tayan, who is still in the process of healing. Chaos ensues as a violent fight breaks out between the masked men and the royal messengers. The masked assassins quickly seize control and start a killing spree. However, they are ultimately defeated when the remaining messengers come together and fight fearlessly. Just as an assassin is about to approach Tayan, he gets brutally killed by the royal messenger. Ultimately, all the assassins, including the royal messengers, get killed while Tayan lies unconscious in Pim's arms. The scene changes to Tayan lying on a stone bed with bandages covering his entire body. Master Bua claims that Tayan's current condition is a result of his bad karma from the past. The entire village is then summoned by Master Bua so that they can pray together and bring Tayan back to life. The process involves the making of the sacred Engbak Buddha statue, sincere prayers made to the gods, and the use of herbal treatments. Pim, who is motivated by her love and devotion for Tayan, performs an enchanting prayer dance in the midst of all these healing procedures, pleading for Tayan's fast recovery. Fortunately, their combined efforts succeed as Tayan regains consciousness. The bad news is that Tayan is still crippled from the beatings. Later that night, Tayan drags himself towards a nearby cliff. In a moment of desperation, Tayan attempts to take his own life by jumping off the cliff. But at that very moment, Master Bua shows up and intervenes to stop him. He scolds Tayan for neglecting his responsibility to save the kingdom and its people. The monk then redirects his attention toward the rising sun and teaches him that, like daybreak, the light is always nearby even wherever shadows fall." Stirred by these words, Tien gets motivated to continue living, so he reconsiders his decision. From that moment on, Tien strives to regain his strength and mobility. He drags his frail body to a deserted temple hidden in the woods, where he starts self-medicating. In an effort to stand up again, he also flexes his muscles and twists his bones. Tien's body adapts over time, progressively regaining its resilience and strength. Pim visits him in the temple one day. She tells Tien how she was missing him a lot and prayed for his recovery every day. Hearing this, Tien becomes overwhelmed with happiness, so he asks her for a dance. Standing on a rocky cliff, the two embrace each other. The next day, Master Bua approaches Tien and explains Dharma to him, including its core values of justice, merit, and upholding moral and religious commitments. In light of this learning, Tien embarks on a journey of self-discovery and spiritual awakening. He practices some spiritual dance routines and works on a unique fighting technique that combines dance and martial arts. And as the days go by, he develops into a powerful beast that can defeat anyone. In another scene, Rajasena travels to Booty's abandoned castle in an effort to escape the curse that has befallen him. But as Booty reveals his true self, he admits that he was the one who has been torturing him all along. He also reveals that his ultimate goal is to become the next king. As soon as Rajasena finds out about Booty's true intentions, he becomes furious and orders his soldiers to kill him. However, despite the troops' united efforts, they fall short in the face of the fearsome Dark Mystic. Booty displays his exceptional fighting abilities by quickly defeating each soldier. When Rajasena is finally left alone, he grabs his bow and arrow and shoots the traitor. However, Booty approaches him first and beheads him before he can fire. Booty receives the same curse from the severed head that Rajasena received from the previous king, but it doesn't seem to affect the Dark Mystic. Later, he takes the throne and takes over the rule of the kingdom. Now that there is just one enemy left, Booty sends out his soldiers to kill Tien. Tien is unexpectedly confronted by a group of soldiers that night as he is in the middle of his training. To please their new master, they look desperate to kill him. Tien, however, kills the enemy soldiers one by one without even breaking a sweat thanks to his new fighting technique. Booty gives the impression that Tien has finally achieved Dharma mastery through tenacious devotion and disciplined practice. After that, Tien rushes to the town of Kanokan, where he witnesses a terrifying fight. The once vibrant community is now in ruins, with the dead villagers' remains lying around the streets. Seeing this, Tien loses his mind and breaks down. However, once more, a new wave of enemy soldiers rush towards him. They are certain they can kill Tien, but they have no idea they've engaged the world's deadliest fighter. Tien, who is driven by a fierce desire for vengeance, controls his rage and instead uses it to give these troops a painful lesson. When Tien is done killing the enemy soldiers, he performs a final ritual in the memory of the dead villagers to pay respect to their lives. He then seeks advice from Master Bua, who encourages him and provides him a mystical stick that has the power to drive out the darkness. The stick, according to Master Bua, is the most powerful weapon in existence and, when used correctly, can even call forth the gods. On the other hand, it is revealed that Pim and the remaining villagers had been sold into slavery in Booty's kingdom. They are forced to work as laborers in awful circumstances. The soldiers beat them with whips ruthlessly for the smallest mistakes or if they show signs of fatigue. The situation of the royal elephants is far worse as they are ruthlessly murdered so that Booty might drink their blood and become more powerful. In the meantime, Tien arrives at the kingdom, determined to free his people and defeat the enemy. However, Booty senses his presence and decides to take action. In a shocking display of power and magic, he summons an eclipse, which plunges the kingdom into a state of total darkness. This makes the villagers realize that he is no ordinary man, so they bow before him in fear. Ultimately, Booty finds out that Pim is Tien's lover, so he quickly grabs her and finishes her off. This is enough to push Tien over the limit, and out of desperation, he unleashes a vicious attack against the guards. He then tries to kill Booty, but the dark mystic quickly turns the tables and shoves a spear deep into Tien's chest, leaving him on the brink of death. As he falls dying, Tien remembers Bua's teachings, and suddenly, the entire battle and Pim's death are revealed to be all an illusion. Now in a higher state of mind, Tien decides to do things differently now that he's been granted another chance. He uses the power of his magical stick to summon the thunder and strike Booty. This decisive blow shatters the devil's powers, after which the eclipse goes away, symbolizing the victory of light over darkness, as told by Master Bua. After Booty wakes up from the strike, he is unable to believe that his demonic powers are slowly fading away before his very eyes. Soon, Tien confronts him, and the final showdown between the two begins. Unlike his initial motivations, driven by revenge, Tien now fights with a deeper purpose. He seeks to end the cycle of violence, suffering, and destruction that has plagued his life and his people. He looks calm and is concentrating on his skills. At one point during the fight, Booty throws his spear towards Tien once again in an attempt to finish Tien off, but this time, Tien successfully catches it with just his bare hands. The fight then continues for some time, and both of them eventually find themselves on the royal ledge above the arena. Tien holds Booty aloft by his chin and drops him over a furious elephant, whose tusk breaks and mortally impales Booty, killing him on the spot. With good having triumphed over evil, the elephant, now resembling the one-tusked Ganesha, raises his head in a victorious trumpet. The movie ends with a sense of resolution and closure. Tien, Pim, and the rest of the villagers pay their respects to the revered Angbak Buddha statue. With a sense of hope and the possibility of a brighter future, they begin a new life. That being said, that is it for today's video. Thanks for watching.